Production shootout, the number 80 of Mark Dennis slipped by the MGA of Kent Prather, the pole sitter, at the start. On the second lap, Woody Dethridge took his Swift and tried to get underneath Prather with a less than satisfactory result. And a three-car battle for second with the 54 of Chuck Mathis, the 30 of Jeff Winter, and the 47 of Bill Wessel ended badly a few turns later. A huge hit under the turn 1 bridge for Mathis and Winter. Huge contact, and for Winter, he was to say the least frustrated. At the finish, Mark Dennis, a great start, parlayed it all the way to a gold medal, an elated crew, and a happy celebration in his car. In Jeep production the past couple of years, the name Dennis has been at the front. Last year was Mark Dennis. This year, his brother, Kevin Dennis, is back behind the wheel of this beautiful Datsun. He's put together 5 wins this season. He's got a silver here at the Runoffs, but he hasn't joined brother Mark yet as a gold medalist. Maybe this is his year. But he's got to get by the Midwest Division champ. That's Chris Albin in this rocket quick VW. 4 wins. He's looking to improve on his 4ths and 5ths. And then there's Woody Dethridge, AMA Superbike racer on Suzuki's. The Daredevil discovered there's a Suzuki that fits in the cars. It's in Jeep production. It's the Swift. And boy, is it. His competitors say the weight is great, the power is good, and it's got the aerodynamics of an egg. Hopefully, it brings him gold. And if Woody's the Daredevil, this guy is the professor. Kent Prather and that MGA have been running a long time. 5 national championships, including 02-03, and he was on the pole here last year. He is always fast. As is Chuck Mathis in his VW. Second at the June Sprints. He only ran 4 races. He had 1 other second, but he's a player. And Bill Wessel, the Central Division champ, also won the Sprints. If he claims gold, he's Triple Crown. It is time once again for the Olympics of motorsports. There's the Summer Olympics, there's the Winter Olympics, and then there's the Runoffs. And this is where 23 national champions will be crowned. Today, it is up for G production honors. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The 12th consecutive year SCCA's National Championship Runoffs have unfolded at this marvelous facility. I'm Greg Creamer, joined in the booth by 13-time championship-winning crew chief with guys, names like Kendall, Fellows, Lamar wins, and a massively talented Formula 4 driver in his own right, Danny Banks. Great to have you with us. And Danny, we chatted a little bit about this great racetrack here. Take us around it.
Turn 1 is a great place to pass. It's slow enough for most cars, but you can make a good move there, and especially going up to Turn 2. Turn 2, you need to be real careful to get off onto the back straightaway. It's really important because a lot of the moves are going into Turn 4, as you can see. Then comes the S's, a little tricky over Turn 5, and then 7, 8, 9, they call that madness. Turn 9 has been very tricky today. And then you go up to the carousel and then out onto the front straightaway.
And you see they finish on the front straight. They start on that back straight, and which means they get a chance to open the legs up on these production classes a little bit, Dan.
Yes, the G production class is based on engine performance. There's other mods they can do, but they must remain in the original design.
All right, and we are about ready to unfold with 20 laps of racing. Let's get down to the first of our pit reporters, John Bizignano.
Well, let me tell you guys, you're looking at the beautiful number 3 Volkswagen Golf belonging to Chris Albin. Let me tell you about Chris's week. They had some engine problems early in the week that let carbon monoxide into the driver's compartment. He was overcome by the fumes and taken to the medical center. Now he spent the next 3 days with a crushing headache, which certainly did not affect his lap times. Well, they did affect his lap times, but he still qualified 8th. He says, Biz, my head is clear. I'm going to watch the carnage in front of me and move up to the podium. Krista, you're right next to me. What's your story, Dal?
Well, so you're watching G production at home and you're like, okay, why do I care about this class? It's because of cars like this, a 1965 Nissan. How cool is this thing? It may not be the oldest car here, but it is the oldest car in the Nissan tent. That driver right there just gave us a thumbs up. That's Bill Wessel, and he is having so much fun at these runoffs. He was 3rd here last year. You know, they have the madness on the track. Well, he is the mad scientist. He's from Madison, Wisconsin, and yes, he is a scientist. When he's not racing, he purifies proteins for pharmaceuticals. How cool is that, guys?
I'll tell you, they come from all background, all walks of life, and when they get to the racetrack at an SCCA event, whether it's a regional, a national, or the runoffs, then they're family. And that's what makes it incredibly special indeed. And in just a few minutes, these beautiful Jeep production cars are going to leave the calm of the false grid and hit the track. Coverage of the 2005 SCCA National Championship Runoffs is being brought to you by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, the oil that's changing oil. The snarl of the Jeep Prod cars now comes to life as they are out on their pace lap. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. Kevin Dennis on pole in the car that his brother Mark won with last year. They trade off every year. Then Kent Prather, well, five-time champ. Andy Dethridge, Keith Church, a champion out of the Southeastern Division, is there. And then you take a look, 7th spot, Bill Wessel, champion in the Central Division. 8th, Chris Alvin, champion in the Midwest Division. Talent, boy, I'll tell you, right up there. But interestingly, as we take a look at the rest of the grid, Dan, there's a couple of guys that are outside of that top 10 you'd expect would be there.
Yeah, John Goodale, 13th, and the Suzuki is the Rocky Mountain champion. And Paul Stutzel is the Southwest Division champion in his X19, and he's hopeful for a good race.
And you were telling me just a little bit before we came on the air that this class has some amazing diversity in it.
Yeah, there's actually 13 different cars in this class to make up the 29 cars, and pretty gonna be a great race.
I think it's going to be a fabulous race, and one guy we'd expect to be a major player in it. John, give us some information on Kent Prather.
Well, Kent Prather, of course, he's a 5-time champion in that beautiful MGA. Now, he's in 2nd place. Again, he started from pole many times here in Mid-Ohio, but he feels like he left some time on the track from qualifying. So he says to me, he says he's just going to take it easy the first opening laps. He's not worried about the car going away. That means the car can race hard at the end of the event, just as hard as it can race at the beginning. So I've never seen Kent ever lay back, ever. But that's what he says he's going to do, guys. It's just let the race come to him. Krista.
You know, the guys in the booth, they were talking about Woody Dethridge and his love for motorcycles. Well, after his last qualifying session, he probably wishes he would have had a motorcycle to escape. That's because they had all sorts of engine problems. They had to take out all the pistons. So what's the good news? Well, they didn't even need that last lap. His time was so good, they could just sit on that time from his 2nd qualifying session. It still puts him 3rd for today's race. Guys?
Thanks, Chris. He's really an amazing story. He started off as a motocrosser and then got beat up a little bit, moved to road racing bikes and raced AMA Superbikes for Suzuki. Had a crash and broke some vertebrae, you know, one of those scary deals. He said, I got to thinking maybe I should look for something else. He goes, and then I saw that Suzuki made a car. And then I saw that the car was eligible for an SCCA class. He said, so we pursued it, took a look at it, and they call him the Daredevil, Woody Dethridge, and he has been incredibly fast. That car works very well, but Woody is fearless. And actually, some of the drivers have said we're a little bit concerned about racing him real close because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think he's used to racing dirt bikes and road race bikes where you can be really aggressive. And these cars, you need to be a little careful. Down to you, Biz.
Well, this is race number 7 of the weekend so far, guys. And what's happened is a very green track from a lot of rain last night and today. The track has laid down some rubber from the 6 previous races. And right now it's in the best condition it's been all weekend long. When the weather was bad this morning, they went and made some changes to the cars. They softened everything up for the wet conditions. But now they had a lunch break. Everyone went back to full, dry racing conditions.
Yeah, and hopefully that weather is going to hold here throughout this race. They're coming up now into, you can take a look at all the rubber that's been laid down on the track, and that means grip, especially when it's not too warm out like this, so the oils don't cook out of it. These cars are sticking really well. The pace car is pulled off track, and here we go. Kevin Dennis in that beautiful Nissan Datsun, bringing him up to the flag. Kent Prather on the outside. Dethridge sits there right behind him. Then Keith Church. The green flag flies. G production is underway. Boy, Dennis wasted no time. Prather actually looked like he may have been caught napping just a little bit as the flag flew. Now he's trying to come up and hold his spot. Look at Dethridge. Gets by, picks up 2nd. That's that's Church trying to go around the outside. See if he can hang on. Now he's got the inside through the S's. But a huge fight there. That's the 54. Chuck Mathis not willing to give it up. Boy, swapping paint and positions here early, and Mathis tucks into 4. What a great move by Mathis.
Yeah, they need to be careful out onto the back straightaway here. It's a little bit slick in turn 9 from the earlier weather. The track's starting to get rubbered in, as you saw, and looks like everybody's going to make it through there okay.
Mathis looking to take a run on Prather, and also Wessel on the move, trying to get by the 68 of Gallagher as we watch them all shoot through the frame here. There we go. Back to the front. Mathis couldn't get around Prather. Prather, that white number 26. Mathis, that 50 orange 54 VW, looking very, very racing here in the early going. Then Gallagher and Wessel. And as they come up the front straight, Dennis absolutely basically no advantage. And Dethridge looks really strong here in the early going. Wessel and Gallagher still duking it out. Back behind. But Dethridge, be interesting to see just what he gains or loses to Dennis on the long back straight.
Yeah, he needs to get a great shot out of there.
Dennis.
Out onto the back straightaway, because it looks like the Datsun 510 has got some horsepower on those straightaways. The Suzuki's holding his own, though. And the MG, I'm not sure if he started the tire pressures too low, but it doesn't look like he's happy with that car at the moment.
There's the 54 of Mathis, and Mathis look to the inside. That's the kink right there. You got to either get that move made before the kink or be set up to jump on it afterwards, and he just didn't have it timed quite right there. Behind Mathis right now is the 17 of Church, that yellow and blue car right there. That's a great story as well for Keith Church as he's watching this battle in front of him. And Mathis, 4 times he finished second this season. Boy, he'd love to get that monkey off his back, and what better time to do it than at the Runoffs.
Yeah, he's hustling that thing around. He's dragging the rear wheel around a little bit. You can see that earlier there. That car has had a rough life. He had an incident earlier. You saw that from last year. He got it all rebuilt. I was checking that car out. It's a pretty trick piece.
It's a nice piece, but that's why he rebuilt it from last year, because it was even though you had some crash damage, when a car's that nice, let's fix it instead of trying to start from the ground up when we know something that works. Speaking of something that works, is that beautiful MGA of Prather, and you got a good close-up look at that. You said that may be vintage, but it isn't all old.
Yeah, that car is, like a 1960 MGA, but there's a lot of trick parts on that thing. Don't fool yourself.
And there's the 68 of Gallagher and the 47 of Wessel as they battle right now for that 6th spot. Larry Gallagher holds it right now in the CTL Engineering Nissan, but Wessel in that white Nissan Roadster right behind him. In spots, he's all over Gallagher. In other spots, Gallagher seems to be able to just ease away just a little bit. And right here, boy, I tell you what, that Roadster handles incredibly well.
Yeah, that 47 is an ex-Joe Hauser car. It's used to winning a few championships, so he's hoping for a good race today.
Yeah, Joe had 4 total, but I think 1 in this car, but he's nothing but Nissan, so a lot of development going in. So, and here we go. Prather trying to get underneath Dethridge. Mathis trying to go with him. This is for second. 3 abreast for second into the S's, folks. Doesn't get more exciting than that. And for all of that battling, not a change in position, but it was sure exciting there for a moment. And Prather showing that daredevil or not, I'm going after Dethridge if I get the opportunity here. But what that did is allow Dennis to open up by another 5-6 car lengths. So Dennis now has a fairly decent margin over Dethridge, Prather, Mathis, and Church.
Mark Webber, 1974, just starting his racing career some 31 years ago. Mark, I've got to ask you, you've been in this racing business for 400 events. What's the best memory?
About 10 years ago, we had a race here in the rain in G production. I started around 16th or 18th and finished 5th. Had a great time going around the outside of people that didn't know the rain line. That was a good time.
How about the worst memory in 400 starts?
I think I had a couple of bad runoffs and maybe a blown engine along the way, but most of the time I've enjoyed it.
I also think I remember you upside down. He's going for 600 starts before he considers retirement.
Well, there's a look at Webb, as he is known, or Einstein, is with the hairdo a lot of his friends refer to him as. I'll tell you what, if you want pictures of race cars, there's hardly a better shooter out there. That's what he does for a living. It says exclusive sports car photography on the side of that car. And he's going to be accruing those numbers. There you see that. He's going to be accruing those race numbers in a hurry because he runs 2 classes and swaps engines out between each one of them. So he's going hard. But right now, he is right in the middle of a battle. He is sitting at this stage in the 19th spot. It's Gopper, Miller, and Rogers in front of him as they're scrapping it out for 16th. And he's right in the middle of that right now. There is Webb, and he is tucked in. He's got some heat. Behind him is the 34 of Terry Boylan, who was running in the 20th spot. And the problem, a little smoke from Webb, and that's one of the problems. He's swapping these engines out all the time. He's making a move on Greg Gopper and ducks down underneath.
Gopper. Gopper runs out of the Central Division, and he used to run that car in IT, and he hasn't done a whole lot to it. He just loves running nationals and running in this category. So doing a pretty nice job, Gopper is, in that number 11 without having anywhere near the snort of some of these cars. Meanwhile, back up front, here's your lead battle of 4, if you will. Prather in second, has gone around Dethridge, and then Mathis, but they're all chasing Kevin Dennis once again, who continues to lead the field. Prather turned a 140.4, as you saw, and thus far on the monitors, that's the quickest lap I've seen. So that car, as you said, starting to maybe come to life just a little bit. Kristen, was this part of their plan?
Absolutely. You know, Prather's a 5-time national champion, but not since 2003, so he's not defending his title. His wife, Kathy, doing co-crew chief duties down here along with her son, Jesse. So, Kathy, he wasn't able to win this thing last year. Has he been a bear to live with? Have you been waiting to get back here to try to win this thing?
It's good to be back here, yeah. We're excited to be here. We're always excited to be here. This is Kent's 26th year in a good old number 8 thing, so we have a good feeling today.
Right now, obviously, just making that pass for second. He has one of the quickest laps out there. Was this the plan all along?
Oh, who knows what the plan is. It's just go as fast as you can. We knew he'd have to get on it right away to keep up with Kevin. Kevin's got a good car, and it's a fast car, so we knew we'd have to go fast to keep up.
Well, like she says, who knows what the plan is? She says Kent doesn't say much on the radio. He's pretty quiet, so she's doing her job down here, and just hoping her husband does his job out there.
Well, Danny, I'm guessing you can back up the fact that you can have a race plan set up all you want, but when the green flag drops off on those plans, it's react.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's getting pressure from Dethridge. He's on him. And Mathis is right there running lap times really competitive. So he's sort of worried about the guys behind him. Obviously, Dennis is right there in front of him, but he's paying attention to the guys behind him here.
Well, boy, did he get a good drive out of the keyhole that time, though, and gapped Dethridge big time, actually. And Dethridge, it wasn't so much. The gap between Dennis and Dethridge didn't change. Prather just got out of the keyhole incredibly well, so he maybe now is clearing that little bit of a battle behind him and can focus on Dennis in front. So when we come back, this battle for the lead might be stellar. The SCCA's national championships, known as the Runoffs, and today G Production is the championship being contested. The production cars, it's a great class, 13 different types of car running in this big field today. And the racing, well, there's your lead 4. It doesn't get much closer than that. Kent Prather sits in second, a multi-time champion, trying to run down the silver medalist from 2 years ago. That is Kevin Dennis, who started on pole. And Biz, what's going on down in the pits with his crew?
Mark, first of all, you're on the headset with both the car number 80 and your mom somewhere, did you say?
Yeah, I got Mom at home on the speakerphone.
You got Mom on the speakerphone and Kevin in the car. Well, let me tell you, this car is 35 years old. It's been racing for 20 years, and somehow you squeezed another 0.3 of a second out of it this weekend. How did you go with this? How did this car go faster?
Kevin's been concentrating on his driving this week. We haven't had any problems with the car, and we've been working on the setup, tweaking the shocks, and watching the lines, and he's been doing the job.
A lot of pressure from behind. Can this car race like this throughout the entire race? They say the MGA can go right to the end and be just as fast as it was in the beginning.
The MGA's tires are going to get hot. Our car is set up for the end of the race, so he should get better.
So there you go, guys. You have two drivers that say that they're going to just settle down and put everything forward at the end of the race. This is going to be very interesting.
I talked to Prather after practice yesterday, and he said that Dennis's tires were going to go off. And so these guys are playing a little bit of game here. It looks like Kent Prather's car is starting to come along here. But anybody makes a mistake, any of those 4 can win this.
There's a look at Webb once again as he continues his battle, still back in the 19th spot. And talk about a family affair. The crew chief that Biz was just talking to for the leader, Kevin Dennis, is the guy who won the championship last year. His brother Mark. Every year they switch cars, or they switch drivers in the car, and one guy gets to run, the other one crews all year. That's a really great program. There is Webb. That smoke's still there. and you have to be a little bit concerned about that. And he has not. He got around Greg Gopper in the number 11, but has not. He got passed once again. Gopper able to get by him. So you wonder if that smoke isn't hinting at something that motor maybe not quite as pipey as it should be.
Yeah, it looks like it's starting to get some blow by, and it's puffing out the tailpipe. That probably won't get any better as it gets hot and runs for these. It's got another 13 laps to go. It's probably going to get worse.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, these two guys up front, Dennis and Prather, are tires. Who's going to tires? We're going to lay back. Woody Deathridge and Mathis are going, you go ahead and lay back. And Woody, he'll pass him in the dirt if he has to. And he got a run. Prather defends, but here comes Woody. Nope. Decides the better of it. Boy, some good discipline from a bike racer right there to lay back a little bit. But maybe he was setting him up. Boy, did he get a great run to the top of the S's. And Mathis right in the hunt as well. But Woody Deathridge, Chris Devoda, is in the middle of a war right now.
Cool with all the different strategies. This class really exciting because you have so many different cars. And yeah, you're talking about Woody Deathridge. We're down with the guy in charge of things in the pit, Ray Longitano. What's Woody going through right now? Do you guys have the kind of car that's going to be there at the end?
We think so. We blew up a motor on Wednesday and pieced together what we have left. It should be pretty good. He's sitting third right now. Hopefully he can move up and at least finish.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the show, the fact that you guys had to kind of struggle and put things together, but you were still able to start third. It shows what a good car you've had all week long.
Yeah, he had a good qualifier on Tuesday, and that time was able to hold us in third, so looks good so far, at least for third.
All right, well, obviously they're going for the win. They want gold, but yeah, right now, Woody Deathridge comfortably in third.
You know, for putting that engine together in basically the parking lot, pretty amazing.
That is a great story indeed. Woody Deathridge all over the legendary Ken Prather, and out front Kevin Dennis starting to check out just a little bit here. The margin almost a second and a half. Welcome back. G Production, the national championship underway, and at the start, pole sitter Kevin Dennis able to get the jump over Kent Prather, who started on the outside. Prather came back. They went 3 wide into the S's, but then it settled down smartly. And we had a big off over there. The mother, as you might call it, Lee Feinagel, having a bit of an off over there. He gathered it up. And then a wild ride here by John Goodale, the national champion or class champion that we talked about. Everybody's gathered it up. Those have really been the only major incidents right there. And the leader's now starting to work some traffic. And that has given Dennis, again, a little bit more of a breather. Prather able to get through that traffic nicely as well. This is as big of a margin as we've seen he's had over Deathridge since the race started.
Yeah, it does look like Prather's tires are starting to get hot. He's sliding it a little bit from the back, but it's still got good power down the back straightaway.
Yeah, that MJ's never been short on grunt. Oh, boy, this is 47 Wessel. Wessel running as high as 7th, the Central Division champ, and he has pulled it off in a cloud of smoke, as apparently the pace has just taken its toll on that machine.
Yeah, it looks like the engine had let go. It's not in good shape at the moment.
You see some of the corner workers responding, bringing the fire bottle just in case. And look at this battle right here. That's Downey, Lentz, and Stanford. And this is a great battle for the 9th spot right now. Number 60 is Lentz, and he is just got by Downey, as a matter of fact. So he's moving up the order just a little bit. These two Nissans at war right now. And again, this is back in the battle for the 9th position. And right behind him there is the number 6. And that is the car of John Stanford. Another beautiful old roadster. This one is a Triumph. Well, he got a good run on 63 as they head down the back straight here.
Looks like 63 might be having trouble. He just got past there, and
speaking of trouble, it looks like, is that a blown motor? Is that tire?
It looks like it's a blown tire. Maybe some parts.
Is that Albin? That's Chris Albin. That is Chris Albin, again, the Midwest Division champ, qualified 8th and was running quite smartly up in the top 10 comfortably.
I think that's the engine.
It looks like it. Well, I saw the smoke, but it looked like there was some fluid pumping out on that right tire.
Yeah,
so
we need to keep an eye out for those other cars coming down the back straightaway there.
So he gets out, and I'll tell you what, a favorite with the workers. I was chatting with some of the workers from his division. They say that he is extremely supportive of all the volunteers that come out. Meanwhile, here comes Stanford now taking another look at Downey, trying to move by. Couldn't quite get the pass made there. but working really hard. And Weber, now he's gone back around the number 11 of Gopper. So these guys, this battle continuing in the 17th and 18th spot, Weber and Gopper right now. Weber's got it, and Greg Gopper in that Honda Civic trying to stay with him at this stage. And as I said, Gopper's car nowhere near as tricked out as some of these other ones. And Gopper just loves running the national level. He doesn't have a big budget, and this was the best way to do it, and having a great time as well. And every time I see Greg at the end of a session and I talk to him, he comes out, he's an ex-corner worker as well. He'll come out and he's got a big grin on his face. And, how'd you do? It doesn't matter. I'm just having a good time. And that's what it's all about. So Gopper really going after it here. And he and Weber have had a great little scrap.
Yes, they have. That's a great story. A lot of people do this as a family affair. You know, they bring their kids and their wife, and their wife's their crew chief, and they take care of their car, and they have a good weekend.
Absolutely. The family, it is a family affair, and that's what makes it a lot of fun. And these two guys having a great scrap as well. Again, this is for 16th and 17th. They've moved up a little bit with a couple of those retirements. But here is Kevin Dennis, and he's going fast, but it hasn't necessarily been all smooth and the like. He's had to work very, very hard for it. Watch this moment.
Yeah, remember I talked about the oil down there at the back of that straightaway there? I think that's probably some of it. Some of the other cars weren't going as wide as he was there at the end of the back straightaway, and he locked the left front tire up.
That maybe cost him just a little bit. It did. About a half a second as Prather has now closed it up to only a second. Dethridge another second behind, then Mathis. So that top four group still in pretty close company. We are back at Mid-Ohio, the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. There is the leader, and he is in traffic, and number 46, never saw him there. Now sees him, looked in the mirror. It's a wrong time to be checking your mirrors, but it allowed Prather to come up and get all over the back of Dennis. Dethridge able to sneak through as well. Mathis, the guy who was not able to get by, and that margin of over about 1.1 seconds when we went to break, gone.
All gone. Prather sees him now. He's on him hard. It looks like both cars are having a little bit of tire management deal going, and but Prather is really starting to make his move.
You know, Dan, even before Dennis got into that oil, I've watched him lock up a couple of times on that outside, which is normally the loaded tire, and Prather sees an opening. Oh, man, that's the experience of Kent Prather. The slightest opening, a decisive move. Dennis coming back, they're side by side down the front straight. They are still side by side. And turn one is not a good place to do that. And Prather, he knows it. He tucked right back in there. But, boy, for Kent, sensed an opportunity. And I wouldn't have thought there was room for an MGA there when he stuck his nose in, and it was there. And that little bit of dicing, look at Dethridge. He has now joined that battle. You go side by side, you lose speed. Now watch this move here.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. You know, he comes in here, he just shoves it in there, things a little bit loose inside of him. What happens here, leaving the corner, he gets a little bit wide. He carried a lot of speed in there, loses his momentum, and Dennis just makes a jump on it.
That little wiggle right there hurt him, didn't it?
It did hurt him. Yeah. Dennis, he ran him out there to the edge of the road. These guys need to be real careful because Dethridge will be on them.
Well, they both gave each other just enough room to make those moves. And you don't have to make it easy, but you do have to make it possible. And these two guys are showing why they are running at the level they are. They're having a great scrap right now. Mathis was able to catch Dethridge back up again after Mathis got caught out in traffic. So first and third, the battles in both are really, really strong. And there's the number 17 of Keith Church. And I said earlier that Keith Church's story here has been a good one. He won in the championship in the Southeastern Division, but he came up here, and I was working turn one earlier in the week, and he came out and said, can a driver looking for a couple of tenths come up and take a look at it? And obviously, is that same spot again?
I think it's that same spot. There must be some oil. He was pretty wide going in there, and it just caught him out.
And then he stalled it clearly, and he has not been able to get it going again. And this is unfortunate indeed for Church. As I said, he came out and watched a little bit from the corner, and I said, how do you feel? He goes, well, we're good in our division. He goes, but with all the Central and Northeastern Division drivers here, he said, I don't know if we're going to be any good. Well, he upped his game in qualifying to crack that top four and top two rows, so kudos to him. Now to be caught out on some oil, that's tough. And look at Mathis trying the outside of Dethridge here. Dethridge didn't see him and started to move over a little bit, and Mathis had to give way. So, but look at Mathis square that corner up, try and figure out a counter move on the exit, get the power down just a little bit. Good idea. It didn't quite work because he was out too wide, I think, but that's the idea.
That Suzuki really leaves the corners good, and Mathis just doesn't look like he has it when it leaves the corner.
Here we go down into the S's at the end of that long back straight.
You know, one thing, it looked like Deathridge might have felt that oil down there in the back straightaway, because he broke in the middle of the track there, if you saw it.
But Prather, a little bobble at the top of the S's there, and now he is trying to work after it and catch back up again here. Krista, what are they saying down in Prather's pits?
Yeah, what he's really trying to do is hold off Woody Deathridge. You can believe that. What a great battle up here. We talked to Kent's wife, Kathy, so now we pulled in his son, Jesse, as our next victim. Jesse, what do you think's going on out there with your dad?
The front four guys are running really close. We're hoping that the tires hold in there. I'd say right now there's a blanket on all four. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it seems like this race is going to come down to tires. We've been talking to guys all day long who just said, you know, whether their car's going to come into them a little bit or whether they're going to be able to save those tires for the end. Is that what it's going to come down to for you guys?
Well, the third and fourth place cars are both front-wheel drive cars, and notoriously harder on tires towards the end of the race. Our car's a little lighter and got a little better suspension, so we're hoping we'll be there at the end.
All right, that's what they're hoping for. They only have to wait 6 more laps to find out how this whole thing turns out.
And Jesse, by the way, is a pretty good driver in his own right. He does a lot of racing. And Kent Prather in spots. Deathridge making the move. Oh, Woody Deathridge just went in deep, deep, deep into that keyhole and got the pass made. Now we'll see if Prather is able to answer, but I was going to say Prather looks really quick in the twisty bits, but in the high speed turns like one and down the straight, looks like that car of Dennis's is working very well, but Deathridge is now playing a huge role in this. Look at Prather now. He's going to the inside. They're going to four abreast into the S's. They sandwich that car. Prather goes from third to the lead as Dennis was looking out for Deathridge, and I don't know that he saw Prather down to the inside. Kent Prather back in the lead.
That's why he's won so many championships.
Yeah.
That's an incredible move. It looked like there was great grip down there.
Let's look at this one again, huh?
Wow. Traffic played a big part there. The Suzuki had a decent run, and then traffic slowed everybody up, and Prather just dove down the inside. Wow.
You could almost see by Dennis's reaction. He turned in and said, oh, I got Deathridge. And then all of a sudden, here comes Prather. Watch right here. He turns in and it goes, whoops, and then straightens it back out again as Prather just slipped into view.
Yeah, they just missed by inches there, as you can see in that view. Wow. Great racing.
Well, now let's see if Prather has anything in front. And, of course, now Deathridge is going to be hounding Dennis mercilessly, as he has done. And we'll see if that helps. Uh-oh, traffic could play into this. See, no, they weren't able to get by that car before turn one, so it's going to remain interesting. We're going to step away. We'll be right back to it. Great race.
It was in the GP race here last year, actually late in the race, that Chuck Mathis and Jeff Winter were battling for second when they made contact. A bad crash under the turn one bridge. Believe it or not, Chuck Mathis and his team were able to rebuild this car. They are back with the same car in the runoffs this year. So Chuck, we have to know, what did it take to get this thing back in working order?
Literally work every day from Thursday or from November till February. Friends Rob Schertz, Eric Nordquist, Joe Dog helped us build the chassis. Spent every time they had. Eric flew in from Maryland, and we got it all together, and it's going fast.
They got it back on the track in March, and everybody this week at the runoffs has been asking, is this really the same car? Well, they got so tired of actually answering the question that they just added this sticker to the back.
And arguably, it's even better. It's even quicker, I think. And look at this. Woody Deathridge has gone by Dennis and picked up second. So Mathis now has watched some unbelievable racing unfold in front of him here in that car. And as I said, I mean, it looks even quicker and racier than it did in the past. So when they rebuilt it, obviously they did a little bit of work on it. And that car is dialed, and he's sitting in fourth. And the problem is, I'm not sure he wants to get up front and get involved in some of this at this stage because it's been so crazy. Look at this now. It's unbelievably close here. Deathridge, Prather had to protect that time. And Deathridge, a little wide at the apex there. Meanwhile, here is how Deathridge got by Dennis.
Down into the back straightaway here. It looks like Prather maybe didn't get a great run out of there. It might have slowed him up a little bit and gave him a shot down the inside. That Suzuki's really good on the brakes. It's probably a little bit lighter than the Datsun 510.
And this is not deja vu. And a little relook at that replay. This is now live, and that's how the racing is going. It's a lap later, same thing. And Dennis, again, in spots, he's very, very quick. And in other spots, other cars are quick, and it has created this unbelievably close battle at the front here right now. And they are now coming up on that battle between Gopper and Weber. And this is going to be very interesting as well. Look at Dennis. Squirrely got a little loose, and Mathis had to hit the brake, locked up just a little bit there to not get into the back of Dennis.
Dennis is getting impatient here. He's trying to make all the moves he can, and traffic's going to play a big part here. If Mathis is doing a really great job, he's been running some very fast lap times, and you can see Dennis there getting sideways. Here's this traffic we were talking about.
That's Gopper, and he's just letting everybody flow around the outside of him here. I mean, you can't hit the disappear button, and everybody doing a nice job of getting by. Dethridge definitely gained a bit of an advantage as he got around Gopper and then was able to get back to the apex here.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. Dethridge's car started wheel hopping there. I think he might have had a little bit too much rear brake in that thing.
Oh, Dennis way wide, and he floated out, got on those marbles, and knifed it underneath went Mathis. And that was just Dennis got in too hot. So he's able, but Mathis locks up into the keyhole, but hangs on to it, and Dennis not able to get by. John Bizignano, they've turned this car when they rebuilt it into a rocket.
Well, you're absolutely right. It is a rocket. I'll tell you, someone who's rocketing around the pits down here is Tammy Mathis. I think you're using up more energy than your husband is at the moment.
Yes, I am. It's pretty nerve-wracking when the car was wrecked last year, and this year we're going to make it happen. The top 5 would be great.
Okay, now tell me, why isn't the crew chief here in the pits with you?
Oh, because the driver likes him in the turn 1 right under the bridge on the knoll. It's a lot more comfortable for him.
And he does some spotting there for him, too.
Yes, yes.
Okay, there's a little bit of a secret approach. Put your crew chief out where you can see the competition. Also, all weekend long, they were having trouble with this car. It could not reach maximum RPM. Finally, just this morning, they changed the fuel pump on it, and now the car is revving right up to the red line. So they definitely found some time that they lost all week just this morning with a new fuel pump in that car.
Wow, the morning warm-up paying big dividends, and they are working up through some traffic. Dennis again, squirrely. And I think, Dan, you called it. Patience is not working. And look at this.
3 wide.
In the carousel, give me a break. Oh,
he's going to go in the pit lane.
Number 15 never saw Dennis on the outside. John McDonald moved over to get Mathis a little bit of room and almost pushed Dennis into the weeds.
You can see Dennis was not happy with that.
No,
but,
not at all.
You know, you got to get by the traffic as clean as you can, and when they go 3 wide into the carousel, holy cow.
Oh, man, and they just went by Mark Webber, so that lead group of 4 now has cleared that group of traffic. But I'll tell you what, Dennis got hurt a bit. Mathis not so much. The lead battle, 2 cars, can't be any closer. Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, where G Production, it's not a race, folks, it's a war. Here's Ken Prather. That second car in your screen is the race leader. The black Suzuki behind him is in second. They're working traffic, and there is the 0 who's trying, that's Bob Kelly, trying to get out of the way, and Prather able to get through very cleanly. Mathis now sits in third. Dennis has dropped off just a little bit. And Dethridge, oh, that hurt. He was going to go and sweep around the outside. Look at Mathis. Dethridge may have missed a gear there when he locked up and had to get on the binders. And Mathis, boy, he is being opportunistic as can be right now.
Yeah, it looks like Dethridge might even have a problem there.
Well, Dennis is now by him for third. So we'll have to see whether Dethridge was a problem or whether he just badly missed a shift or something of the like, but nonetheless, Mathis has slipped through the orange car and picked up second. And during the break, you said that you think Mathis has been racing really smart.
Yeah, I was watching him earlier on when there was a big battle there. He was just taking care of his tires and being nice and easy on him. Down to you, John.
Well, again, Prather building that margin over Mathis just a little bit. Dennis has been able to, because of the problem by Dethridge when he looked like he missed a shift, has been able to sneak back into third. And those two guys are shuffling through traffic here in a pretty serious way right now. This is the opportunity on this back straight to get by all this traffic at this stage and try and clear it out just a little bit. But the only thing you got to remember is that some of these guys, if you catch them, they're in their own little battle. There you see Kelly has seen Dethridge and just pointed him by, and so that's going to help. And Dethridge actually used that and gathered up a little bit of speed now on Dennis. The orange car just going out of frame is Mathis, so you can see the gap, that's second to third. And Prather now has about 2 seconds, and some of that is because he's, one, been catching traffic in great spots, but two, Kent has been managing the traffic beautifully.
He's raced here a lot of times, and he knows what he needs to do in traffic and where to catch them and how to stack those guys up and, you know, hurt Dennis and, you know, Mathis. So.
Well, right here we've got Prather, but I just saw Dethridge was all over the back of Mathis, just in the back of the frame, and everybody's getting nervous here. This is our last lap, by the way, so Prather, he's just got to bring it around one more time through the carousel, through the final turn, onto the front straight. National championship number 6 for Kent Prather. Mathis in that rebuilt VW gets a silver. Great story there. And Dennis is able to, I think, bring it. No, Dethridge was able to get back through and picks up third. Unbelievable story for the daredevil Woody Dethridge, and what a great story really for all of our top 3.
Yeah, these guys look real happy. Everybody's happy with their finishes today. Prather had a couple great passes there, and Mathis had a couple great passes also.
Just fabulous, and you've got to believe that the pits, especially Ms. Prather, is over the world. Krista?
Yeah, she had been pacing back and forth, and you know, when your husband went by, Kathy, and lifted his arms and you guys were celebrating, I know I'm a sap, but I think I was about ready to start celebrating with you. What are your feelings right now?
Oh, thank you very much. Well, collect myself here. Feel very blessed. Kent is, excuse me.
That's okay. You deserve it. You've earned this right. He's a 6-time national champion. I know it's been a long year. You guys wanted to get back to the podium, the gold medal where you were in 2003.
Well, it's an excellent feeling. Kent is the one who gets all the credit for this.
Congratulations. We'll let you celebrate. That's Kathy Prather, the wife of the national champion.
Well, and you can just hear the emotion. You can see the emotion. And keep in mind that last year, Mathis crashed it under the bridge. Prather and Dethridge played stack-em at the exit of turn 1. And now, a year later, they're the 3 medalists. It doesn't get any better than that. Coverage of the 2005 SCCA National Championship Runoffs is being brought to you by High Endurance Oils from Mobil, the oil that's changing oil. The G Production National Championship is done. Chris Devoda is with our silver medalist as we take a look at the top 10.
Actually, I am with the gold medalist, Kent Prather, a very excited Prather family down here. His wife, Kathy, puts the medal on her husband, Kent, and Kent is going to stay in the car because he is getting ready to do a victory lap. But let's talk about another lap, and a very specific part of a lap. How did you get that pass for the lead?
Oh, that was very tough. What happened is he got blocked a little bit in traffic, and I was able to catch him, and I was going to pass him right here coming onto the front straight somewhere in the race anyway. So it worked out really well for me that I was able to get up with him.
Talk about consistency. I was talking to your son, and he said you had as quick a lap on lap 16 as you had on lap 3. This car was just good all day long.
This car with these Goodyear tires, this car was just hooked up all week long. We've just had a fantastic week. I can't tell you how much work this has been to get here. This is my 6th national champion, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my kids and my wife. It's just, what a sensation this is. This is one of the best.
Words can't describe it any better. I think the emotion tells the story. Biz?
Woody, you look a little upset. What happened out there? What upset you?
I was running second and just got into some contact with some lappers. I'm surprised. We lapped them twice. I would figure they'd maybe get out of the way for us, but, you know. So that's the way it goes. We were back to 4th. We salvaged a 3rd, so I guess I can't complain too much.
Better than last year, mate.
Yes, sir. Finished the race.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, you can say, I mean, obviously happy to have the result that he had, but knew maybe that it could have been better. And, you know, part of the problem is that if the guys are racing, the lap traffic are racing for their own position, they're going to race, and sometimes that can play into it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are racing too for position, and the passer has the responsibility to get by clean. So, it's his job to do that, and he finished third today. That's a great run.
Absolutely it is, and I think the other great story, obviously, is Mathis with that great second place and that silver medal. Just a resoundingly great year, and you can see there were some other moments that unfolded as the race did here. There's Wessel off after the engine problem, and Albin pulling off as well. Not a good day for everybody, but you know what? You qualified and you raced in the runoffs, and that means an awful lot. For John Bizignano and Chris Devoto and Dan Binks, I'm Greg Creamer. Thank you so much for joining us here for the G Production National Championship, and congratulations to everybody, especially our medalists, and especially Ken Prather.